All right. I think we are live. I think everything seems to be working so far. I think can everybody hear me? Let's start there. We always like to start there. Make sure that Stupid's coming through. You guys can hear him. Um, Hopefully you guys can hear me and things are going well so far. Do. Sounds good. BRB. All right. Well, audio's good. This is great. All right, let's see who we got here. Let's see. Do we've got Tar Ek? I apologize if I got that wrong. We've got Tar Ek here. We got Jay Collins on James Collins, both on Twitch and YouTube. Appreciate that. Jorge Gomez is here. 184 pin. That's a new one for me. So thanks for stopping by. As is Skynet. Glad to see some new faces in here, so to speak. Mr. Glitch. I love the little blue or face blue smiling thing. That's kind of cute. Never seen that before. Jorge says good morning. And yes, I am Mr. Tarek, like Tarek Musa. Sorry, man, I am not good with names. I should be better with names, but I am not. So you'll have to forgive me. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm probably gonna screw up as we go. Um, it's just kind of the nature of the beast, especially when you only speak one language fluently. So, but what I will say is that it looks like ground control is finally showing me both Twitch and YouTube up here for the first time in a really, really long time, which makes my life considerably easier. Blaze Artifacts is here. Says, "Let's roll, buddy." Hell yeah! Thank you for forgiving me on that, Tara. I appreciate you. Um, but the reason I bring that up is I've been having issues with ground control not showing me everything it's supposed to show me up here, and part of the time that we're here today, we're actually gonna be over here a little bit, taking a look at this in prep for getting our content created today, or the this set up as a new Plex server. So while I'm here, I won't be able to see what you guys are saying over there. So we're gonna make do with what we've got. Let me come back over to there. Um, so anyway, I appreciate you all being here, hanging out with me on a Saturday. I'm sure you guys could find any number of other better things to do, but I'm really glad you're here. Um, it's been a week. It's been a week. It's been like not bad, not nothing like that. I just it's been a lot going on, been keeping me busy, and I haven't been able to do everything I wanted to do. Probably because of my lack of ability to plan my time accordingly, if I'm completely honest. But we're going to get through, do what we got to do. Hey, Alexia is here over on Twitch. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you being here, hanging out on a Saturday evening, I believe, where you are. Mid evening, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, I believe, over there. But yeah, so we're going to hang out a little bit, let everybody get settled in, make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. I'm gonna have to move my microphone later when we go back over to this other area. I gotta find a better solution for that. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I've just got totally right. Yep, I time zones fascinate me. So, but I've got this microphone that I'm using, that's just on a weighted stand right here in front of me. Um, I should probably I should probably switch to a wireless microphone or something, and I've got one somewhere. I've just never been really happy with the sound quality on it. Like it's fine, but I've never really been happy with it, and I need to find, I think, something different that I can wear so that when I move from here over to here, it doesn't screw up the audio like I know we're going to have to deal with a little bit later, at least for a bit. So uh, Rasby is here. Carl Bars says, "Good evening, everyone. Glad to have everybody here hanging out with me today. Super appreciate it. If at any point during the live stream you feel the urge and you want to go down and hit that like button, that'd be awesome. Would really appreciate that. Um, how we doing? We got a few people over on Twitch, and of course, an ad is getting ready to start over there. It just says ad starting soon. I wish there was some way that I could get a better notification than just a little yellow bar over there. And I know other people have got that figured out. I just don't. But 12 Wyatt is awesome is here hanging out on YouTube. Thanks so much for stopping by to say hi. Appreciate you being here. Um, so yeah, if you saw the title, if you saw the thumbnail, the plan today is to get a new, it's actually an old mini PC set up for my test server. Um, I want to do something different. Like the one I've got has been fine, but it's an N100. It's got a small hard drive, a couple of small hard drives in it. It's just not very powerful, and it's probably fine. But why not? Why not do something different and hang out and chat about it while we're doing that kind of stuff? Get a chance to hang out with you guys and chat for a bit, get something productive done simultaneously, and of course, maybe you guys can help me along the way with your suggestions on things that you like to do with your Proxmox setups. And if you're not familiar with Proxmox, maybe you'll learn something today. That would be cool too, I suppose. Collins says nothing wrong with different and making use of some spare hardware. Yeah, the little device that I've got over here, it's still got the plastic on there. Geekom sent me this last year, and it's got Windows 11 on it currently, and I had a lot of problems with the initial setup process. I'm sure that it could have been rectified by just reinstalling Windows. Anytime I tried to do anything with it, the whole system would bog down, and it would become basically non-responsive. All of the CPU cores would bottleneck on me if I tried to do things like Windows updates, that sort of thing. And I messaged them about it. And the person that I spoke with, because I don't want to generalize Geekom, don't have a problem with Geekom as a whole, but the person that I spoke with about the issue, I sent them videos, I sent them all kinds of stuff showing the issues I was having, and they're like, no, that's not possible. That's not possible because we're testing the same device and we're doing the same thing on our end, and we're not having that issue. Cool. That's I'm happy for you for that, but I am having this issue, and I have shown you with video, with all of these screenshots, with everything I possibly can. I have shown you the issues I'm having. No, you're not, because no, we're not. We're not having that issue, so you can't have that issue. And finally, I put it back in the box and I put it on a shelf. And I've been wanting to do this project for a little while with setting up something a bit more powerful for my testing server, but I just haven't. Originally, I thought about using. I thought about using the Beelink SEI 13 that I reviewed recently, but it's got soldered RAM, and honestly, it's a little bit off-putting for me to do that. I don't know why. It genuinely makes no difference for what I'm doing, but I decided not to use it. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna take a look at this Geekom. This is the GM 11i7T, which I can't really seem to find a lot of information on when I Google it, and I think there's a reason for that. It would all be speculative, and I don't want to get into speculation, but yeah. So let's scroll back up. I missed some stuff. Tar says I got addicted with mini PCs. 3 HP ProDesk 600 G4s with the i7 800 or 8700T. Dell Micro Optiplex, Topton N150. I've never heard of Topton, but yeah, no, I get it. I just looking. I've got a wall of boxes here. I've got the AU Star Gem 12. I've got a Minis Forum that's actually, it crapped out on me real soon. I had issues with it, but they replaced it. I'm actually using its replacement for this stream right now. I've got the Geekon Mini for the one that we're doing, right now. That we're going to do the B-Link, and then a system I can't even talk about yet because it's not available in North America. That I've had for months. I've had for months, and every time I reach out, they keep putting it off because of tariffs and import duties and all kinds of stuff. They're not available in the United States yet, so I got this before the tariffs hit. To give you an idea of how long I've had this sitting over here, and it looks like such a good little machine, and I could probably get the review done and then repurpose it or something, but I'm super impatient, and it's better if I don't touch it. So I have lots of mini PCs over here. I've got more over there. I get having small form factor stuff. Um, Raspberry says mini PCs are a bad addiction. Yeah, I get it. Just Alexia says I continue playing around with settings for Indurain. I think that's how it's pronounced. I had problems with it. It turned out the volumes were changed, so I needed to create those and change them to a Docker Compose. Changing volumes for Docker Compose is a new thing for me, so I learned something today. That's great. Did you switch from Docker volumes to mapped volumes or vice versa? I'm curious about that. Because last week we did Nextcloud AIO, and it by default had a Docker volume that I switched to a mapped volume, and it's like, no, you can't do that. So I'm glad that in your case you were able to do that. That's awesome. Just Alexia, time zones are helpful if you have servers in different time zones. That's true. Would you recommend the mini PC you're using today for a NAS, for a home NAS setup? Maybe. And will the reason I say that is because it has two drive slots. It's got an NVMe drive slot for like your OS, and then it's got a 2.5-inch drive slot for like a SATA, like an SSD, just like a standard SSD. I've got a 1 terabyte drive in there right now, but it only has 2 drive slots. So if you're looking for a lot of storage, I probably wouldn't recommend this. Also, it turns out it's only got a 1 gig network card in it, which I thought it had 2.5 gig. I was wrong. It's only got a 1 gig card in it. So the processor's fine. It's got the, I don't even know what it says on here, what it's got. You know what? Screw it. Let's do this. I guess we'll just come over here for a minute. We're gonna bring this in close. We're gonna go top down. There we go. All right. So this has got the Intel Core i7 1139 or the 11. Jeez, if I can get my words out. Intel Core i7 390H. Man, here. Oops. There, that's what it's got for the specs in it right now. And again, one of the drives in here is an SSD. It's so yeah. Anyway, just wanted to show that it was easier, I think, to do that probably. Let's come back over to here for a minute. Mini PCs are released so frequently that they come and go. Yeah, you get one and within 6 months the specs and sheets for that are right. And it honestly surprised me that this one disappeared, because usually you can find old data about them, and only thing I can find right now for the most part is other reviewers talking about it. Wyatt says, love mini PCs, but not enough internal storage for me. Yeah, like that's not a that I don't blame you a bit. Like I've got, I don't even know what I've got on like the mini PC that I'm using right now. Yeah, I've just got a single drive in here that's 1 terabyte. Oh, that's right, because I had to sacrifice the other M.2 drive on this one for the Oculink port. That's what happened there. So yeah, I've got a terabyte of storage in the PC that we're chatting on right now. But yeah, 8th gen Intel is pretty much the best bang for the buck for use. I'd like to set up a mini Swarm MSA2, but then need 2 to replace my current equipment, and the price is quite high. Yeah, I believe that. Thomas W is here. Says, I missed the lightweight embedded motherboard options. Yeah, I think Minisforum has one of those. A Framework, I think you can get one from Framework. that's kind of like that. But then you got to, anyway, I haven't really done anything with framework. There are some options out there, but they're not as prolific as I think they should be for custom small form factor builds. Again, I know Minis Forum has a board. I'm pretty sure they've still got a board that you can get, but the only thing I'm keeping these mini PCs for is they don't consume a lot of power. Yeah, they're usually, from my experience, limited to like 65 watts. The power supply will usually be 90 to 100 watts, but that CPU often gets throttled at like 65. And part of that's cooling and part of that's efficiency. I'm sure there are other things, but yeah, Jan, thank you so much for gifting a membership. That was really nice of you. I appreciate you for that, and other reasons, but I wanted to call that out specifically. Just Alexia says, I just changed the path. And so if you just changed the path, that's a mapped volume. So you just moved it to a different spot on your server, it sounds like, which is fine. Some places or some containers won't let you do that. Like you can map it to a spot on your server and that's fine. And you can move it and that's fine. But switching from like a mapped volume like you've got, it sounds like there, to a Docker volume, or from a Docker volume to a mapped volume. Often, I say often is wrong. Sometimes Docker containers, for permissions reasons, won't let you do that. And that's super frustrating. Like I said, I tried to do that last week with the Nextcloud AIO install. That in the end ended up getting me banned from my own home lab because of CrowdSec and firewalls and all kinds of stuff, because I didn't have the right collection in my CrowdSec setup. So that was my bad. But it was definitely an issue that I ran into. But I'm glad you were able to do that and check that out. I would be sure if you changed the path on your server, it may also be worth going back and deleting whatever's in that old path, just to keep all that cleaned out, and maybe for security stuff. But yeah, definitely good job on that. Herman says mini PCs are always thermally throttling right. No, I've tested several. Obviously, not as many as some people, but I've tested several mini PCs over the years. And the only time I've ever really had them, let me move this. I'm sure my audio is garbage right now. The only time I've had them thermal throttle on me is when I'm doing like Furmark or one of those really intense benchmarking tests. I have them thermal throttle then. But under daily normal use, I don't think I've ever really had one thermal throttle on me. So that makes me wonder, what are you doing with your mini PCs that they're thermal throttling like that? That seems excessive. Let's see. Sven says, anyone tested to split a graphics card between an LXC and Proxmox? I want to buy an NVIDIA RTX A2000. I've got two different containers using. I've got two different Docker containers using an RTX 2070, but they're all in the same VM. So I don't know. I don't think I've ever actually done that. So I think I'd be curious as well. Are you for real? I've been having issues over the last few days. Let me fix that. With my presence sensors just randomly turning off. So that's a lot of fun. Let me fix that. Where are my automations? Let me lights out, right? Studio empty. We're going to turn that off, and then we're going to run that. There we go. We should be good now. So there. Hopefully that doesn't continue to happen. It shouldn't. I disabled the studio empty one. It always uses laptop processor. Not always. It depends on the setup. I mean, they're rarely going to use a desktop processor. They will use a mobile chip very often that still has the capacity to go to 115 or 120 watts. But they deliberately thermal throttle them for efficiency and cooling very often. In fact, I talked about that in my recent B-Link video, because that's got a 13900H in it, I believe. I think it can go to 125 watts. but they deliberately limited the power on that to 65. So you used to have a lot of temptation to buy Geekom. To sync times, you mean like maintenance at 11? Oh yeah, that's right. That was. Oh yeah, you were responding. My bad. Uh, yeah, setting everything to like UTC does definitely help, so you can see kind of what happened. Of course, then you gotta adjust it in your brain depending on where you are. And like here in Colorado, I am sometimes UTC -6 and sometimes UTC -7, and I got to keep up on that depending on when our time change happens to be. So it's just one of those. Just set everything to be logged as UTC or GMT. Yeah, I know that they're the same thing effectively, but it's like I used GMT a while back in one of my posts, letting people know like, hey, I'm going live at 10 a.m. GMT -6, and somebody is like, well, really, what you're doing is UT, and I'm just like, okay, bro, fine, that's fine. Like they're the same thing effectively. So. Oh, good. You did clean up that folder. That's great. That's good. Wajdi, I know I screwed that up. I apologize. Thanks for hanging out. Lumos, yeah. MZ is here. Says hello. The spell works. You're not in the room. You've been replaced by an AI genetic, right, dude? So the problem, I now have 3 of the Akara millimeter wave presence sensors, the FP2s, because they had a really good deal on them the other day on Amazon. And 2 of them keep disconnecting, like shutting off, disconnecting, whatever. And so I got to figure out why. I got to figure out what's going on and what's causing that. Because it doesn't make any sense. Like they just randomly disconnect, they randomly shut off. I fought with this one for like an hour and a half the other day. And now it's doing it again. The one I put in the kids' room is also doing the same thing, but the brand new one that's in our bedroom isn't. And the one that's the other one that's in the other kid's bedroom, also brand new. I bought the 2 bedroom ones the same day. His is being a piece of junk. This one's being a piece of junk. The one in our bedroom is fine. I got to figure out what's going on there. I don't even know anymore. Wajdi says, I have a small question. Why use Proxmox or small mini PC? What's the advantage of that? Why not install Linux with Docker? Because I'm a big fan of Proxmox. That's ultimately what it is. The other part of it is I like to start each of my tests with a clean slate, right? So what I usually do, what I've done, what we're going to do today is set up a Debian LXC. And in that LXC, we're going to install Docker. We're going to add a user. We're going to add that user to the Docker group so that we can run Docker commands without having to run sudo. And then I'm going to set that as a Proxmox template. And basically what I mean by that is we'll shut it down and duplicate it, and I'll just call it template. And that way, every time I want to take a look at a new service, I don't have to worry about anything interfering. Like when I've tested a service, when I've made a video about it, I can shut down that LXC, and then I can delete it and then duplicate that template LXC that we're going to create and start fresh each time. That's the logic that I use for that. However, it's the same logic that I use in my home lab, like on this HL15 that's back here. Basically, each of my individual services, whether it's a WordPress site with all of its, databases and Redises and things like that, or my link stack or my Ghost instance or whatever it is, each service and its subsequent containers each goes in a separate LXC. It's not the most efficient way. It's not the most practical way. But if something goes wrong with my Ghost instance and it crashes, it's not going to inadvertently take out my WordPress instance or my password protect or my password manager instance. Each thing is completely isolated, minus sharing the kernel with the root. I could take it a step farther and set up VMs for each individual thing, but they're more resource intensive, right? So I found a balance that works for me and my workflow, just like I'm sure that you will, if you haven't already, find one that works well for your workflow. I actually made a video a while back about the rationale that I used for all of this. People had great comments about how I'm wrong. But again, that's the great thing about self-hosting, is that each person can find something that works really well for them, and then they can implement that for themselves. So you don't have to necessarily do it my way. I may make suggestions about how I like to do things, but then you can take that information and extrapolate it into something that works better for you, the way your brain works, the way your infrastructure is set up, whatever the case is. So I found something that works for me, and I've been doing this way for more than a year, and doing it the way I've been doing it has saved my butt more than once. Like I've had something crash, and I was able to just restore that LXC from, like last night, because my LXCs back up every night, as do my VMs. Everything on my Proxmox server backs up every night. So if something goes wrong, I can just back up to midnight or whenever the backup happened, right? So I'm never going to lose usually more than a day, as long as I'm good with my backups. Start moving a bit to trigger the sensor. That's the point. This is a millimeter wave sensor. I shouldn't have to move. And it's shutting off. It's not that it didn't detect me any longer. It's that it shut off for some reason that I don't understand. How would you solve the Proxmox storage issue without a NAS? So like this HL15, that has two 10 terabyte drives in it. That is more than enough for the services that I'm running. Like they're running in a ZFS 1, I think. So I've got 10 terabytes of storage. Either of those drives could fail and I wouldn't lose anything. Of course, if both of them fail, I'm boned, but I've got a backup of that data from hours ago that if I needed to, I could spin up a Proxmox instance here, connect to that backup server, and redeploy everything very quickly and have a very minimal amount of downtime. As far as additional storage, you got to just throw more drives in it. Like if you don't have a NAS, you got to find a way to add more drives. That's really all I can think of there. Yeah, a couple of comments about how mobile CPUs aren't nearly what they used to be. They are much better, more powerful, more power efficient. Strange Chinese stuff, probably. Most everything in the world is built in China these days. Your car, your laptop, your phone, the screens you use, the lights that light your house. Most everything is not from America these days, or wherever your country of origin is. So it's not a big fan of calling out stuff that seems mildly racist. I don't know if you meant it that way or not, but their production stuff over there it's cost prohibitive not to build stuff over there. So anyway, NXT Malteser says, I'm looking into expanding my Proxmox knowledge by expanding into clustering. Can you mirror storage throughout the cluster? You can. You can, if you set up Proxmox with high availability. In fact, I made a video on that. Man, it's been a while, but I did make a video about how you can do that, how you can have effectively they can all share things, and they will periodically replicate. But sometimes moving that data from one thing to another, if one of your nodes goes down, can take a minute. That said, if you set up an NFS share, a network file share, if you've got a NAS, you can map that share to your Proxmox storage on all of your nodes, so that if something goes down or one of your nodes goes down, that storage or that data for all of your different containers and LXCs and VMs is actually living on a NAS. So that swap over will happen much faster if you're able to move the storage out of the cluster itself and put it like in an NFS share. I made a video about that the title was very clickbaity and it pissed a lot of people off. But it worked really well for me. I did that for a while until I got new hardware and switched out. Honestly, I don't know where it went. I had another little mini PC over here for a while. But I switched from a 3-node high availability cluster. It was just ridiculous because I never needed the high availability. I switched it over to a mini PC and it was great. So practical IT with Jeremy says, hey, great to catch you live again. I've started playing with PvE 9 beta and looking forward to PBS 4 beta. Fall 2025 is going to be exciting. Yeah, I haven't actually checked out either one of them yet. I probably should. The one that really got me excited was their new management solution thing that I did a video on, man, a while back. I can't even think what it was called. Let's do Proxmox. Let me just search for this. Let's do this. Proxmox Data Center Manager. That was December of 2024. I'm really excited about that one going live. I think that'll be a lot of fun because if you've got different nodes that you don't have all linked together, you can manage them all from one dashboard, which I really like. Hopefully that will continue to evolve. Thomas W says Proxmox gives you more options than just Docker with minimal OS overhead. Yep, it does. I think Broadcom shot themselves in the foot by removing ESXi for home use, but came to their senses later, restoring. Yeah, kind of had the same issue with the Akara ones. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these. I'm gonna have to do some. I'm gonna have to do some more troubleshooting with them later. Usually use the VMware for my work, and especially, yeah, look, VMware is great. I'm sure for some people, I don't really use it. Krishna says, hey man, love your videos. Keep doing amazing content so I can learn to self-host more things. That's what I'm here for, man. Thank you so much for stopping by and saying that. I appreciate it. Self-hosting is just like a stew. There's more than one way to do it. It's 100% personal to you. Yep. Tar, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here for a bit. Thanks for chatting. Not to be the best stuff I'm trying to sometimes produce. Sometimes the bad stuff comes from any number of places. So Darkan says, hello. Practical IT with Jeremy says Proxmox Data Center Manager. Supposed to get a beta at some point now that we're past the halfway mark of the year. Dude, I hope so, because it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed using that one a lot. For something still in alpha, it's still stable, works really well. Yeah, dude, and it's great for moving things across from one thing to another. I forgot about that. Collins brings up a really good point about that. Yeah, all standalone. You're able to migrate from one thing to another. It was so good. All right. Well, all caught up. Yay, all caught up. I gotta get some more water. I talked a lot right there. So, I guess with that, let's take a look at over here, right? Let me do this. We're gonna go top down. Radu says, hello guys, managed to catch you live this time. That is awesome. I'm really glad that you made it. So, microphone here. This is the little. Can I? If I do that, it's going to get in the way. So basically, what we've got here is the GM11i7T from Geekom. Again, I had issues with this when I first got it. It's got Windows 11 Pro on it, I think. And the problem that I had with it is that it would just bog out. It wouldn't do, like if it was doing Windows updates, it would just basically crash. And I didn't have a good time with it. So I put it back in the box. I did some initial testing, didn't like it, put it back in the box. Messaged them, was like, hey, I'm having these issues. And they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. Here's some proof. And they're like, no, you're not, because we're not. So it went back in the box, back on a shelf. Haven't touched it really since then. But it's got some great I/O on it. Man, let me, of course, if I do that, it's going to screw things up. Sometimes, man, what is this? Can I do this? Of course not. That is magical. And sometimes this software gets me, dude. So USB-C, USB-A, headphone microphone combo jack, power button, that lights up blue. I kind of dig that. Intake, nothing on the bottom for intake, which kind of surprises me. And then on the back, power, was that micro display port, mini, micro? Man, I don't remember. 1 gig LAN, couple more USB-As, another USB-C. I think that this is full function though, so you could use this as display or power, I think possibly, and then HDMI probably 2 based on when I got this. The thing about this, and they actually did something here I like, they recessed the screws inside the feet and kind of made them a single unit, and they made them captive, which I'm also super happy with. If I get this to come out, oh, that was screwed in. There we go. But you got to be careful when you take this apart because there's this ribbon cable right here that connects power and data to the drive that I've got in here. It's a Silicon Power 1 terabyte drive. I've got a 512 gig NVMe drive, and I think this is 32 gigs of Vengeance DDR4. The thing that I don't like about it, oops, that's upside down. Because it says CMS X32G, which makes you think that these are 32 gig sticks. And I think that's the conclusion I came to when I tested these out at some point, only to find out that they're actually 16 gig sticks. So I think this is a total of 32 gigs for the kit, not 32 gigs individually. So that's what we're working with here. That's what we're gonna be messing around with here. I guess what we could do, just real quick, I can get this to go back together. Let's go this way. No, it definitely does not go that way. Man, come on. Why you gotta be like that? Why? Does it go this way? There. I guess it's kind of keyed in some capacity there. So I guess let's get it plugged in. Power. What we're gonna do here, for the sake of keeping things as simple as possible, is we can see we've already got network activity there. We're not turned on. That came out wrong. This isn't, there's no power going to the CPU at this point, is what I was trying to say there. So let's come back over to here. I should have actually gone to my desktop though. Oh, that's where that went. That was great. Okay, let's see. Sven, yeah, no, we talked about it earlier, Sven, when you asked that question. And I had mentioned that I had used, and of course, maybe nobody else responded, but like I had mentioned that I've got a couple of containers in a VM that share, that share my 2070. So anyway, let's come over to here. Oops, let's come over to here. There we go. So this is Tiny Pilot. I've been using this off and on for a really long time. And what we're going to do is we're going to be able to remotely. This is a KVM over IP, basically. Not basically, it is. Made a video on it a while back, a couple of years ago. So basically, it's just going to let me control it from my browser window here. So we've got power. So I've clicked into here. Basically, what this does is lets me transfer my mouse and keyboard directly in. There we go. Okay, so here we go. This shows us everything that we've got going on in here. Yeah, it is 32 gigs. Okay, so we've got an 11th gen Intel Core i7 11390H to do 4 cores, 8 threads. So not a beast, but should be fine. Scroll down, 32 gigs of RAM at 3200 mega transfers. Yeah. So let's see. Dual output, all of this is fine. I think what I want to see though, and I don't know where it might be in here, is where we might find information about. No, not there. I want to see if there's anything in here about memory timing, because I want to make sure that we've got we're not just running it at base speeds for man, I'm so bad with this stuff. I don't really get into a lot of this. CSM, this is compatible. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's not a big deal. But I just wanted to see if I could find it in here, and I don't know where it is. Graphics configuration, PCI Express. If you guys happen to see the setting that I'm looking for, or can point me in the right direction, that'd be really cool. Thermal, power and performance, that's CPU, that's power management. Do Performo. Mindben says hello. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. I feel like all of this is probably fine. I should. Oh, here we. No, that's different timing and latency. Do VT-D. That's I don't. Step away for a second. Are we? We're looking. I'm trying to remember where the memory stuff might be, so that I can make sure that we're not running at like base numbers. Because I don't think it's in here. Memory, because it says 3,200 mega transfers per second, but looks like some of the. And I just don't remember where. I also want to make sure that virtualization is enabled. It is. That's good. That's the other thing that I really wanted to make sure of, was that virtualization, hyperthreading, all of that's enabled, because we want to get the most out of this. But platform settings, VTIO, no, VT-D. Man, I don't. This is one of those things. I never go into the BIOS of things, but I figure if I'm going to do it, I should do it right, and see if I can find. That's all TPM stuff. ACPI, hibernation. Oh wait, what was that? Oh, that's suspend to RAM. Variable protection. Tell TXT. Graphics output. That's fine. SIO. I don't know what so many of these things are. What is this? This is Aptio setup. I mean, there's so many of these things that I'm just not familiar with. USB configuration, network stack configuration. Still don't know what that is. NVMe, MAC address, and that's. And I guess power and performance. That's where we were earlier. Maybe there's just nothing in here. I don't know. Huh. XMP, that motherboard. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. Because I figure I feel like it would. THC configuration. That's funny. Touch host controller configuration. Yeah. So yeah, it's entirely possible that this just doesn't support it, which is. I mean, it's a mini PC. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if it didn't. I guess what we can do just real quick. Yeah, we'll quit without saving. It's fine. We'll get booted into here and into Windows 11. We'll see what Task Manager says it's doing with regards to the speed. Hopefully, this just logs me in. Nope. Task Manager. Oh, it's going to try to log me in there. I don't care about that. Dude. Let's open this up. Go to performance. Memory, 32 gigs. At 3200. So apparently it's just going to run it at max speed. So that's good. That's good, right? Ethernet. It's got an Intel i219V in there, if anybody cares. It's got the Iris Xe graphics. The driver date from April 16th, huh? Yeah, it could all be weak RAM or M.2 storage that could cause the issues under Windows. Yeah, it absolutely could be. Again, I don't know. I didn't care enough to do a full reinstall at that point. After the way that particular rep had treated me, I was like, well, fine, then I'll just throw it back in the box. So I think, obviously it works. If we go to Actually, let's do control, whatever. Network and internet. I have not tried Linux to see if it was the same, and we're going into this completely blind here. We're going to throw Proxmox on this. Man, I don't even know if there is a BIOS update available for this. Yeah, 1 gig connection there. I would have to go and see what the BIOS is, I think. And I didn't make note of that a minute ago. So I'd have to figure out what the BIOS is and then see what we can do there. I mean, we can take a look. No, just restart. We're not gonna do an update and restart. So let's see. Let's see if we can figure out what the BIOS is. Yeah, restart anyway. I don't care. I wouldn't bother with a BIOS update on that kind of device. That's just me though. Well, let's take a look. Let's see what's available or what it's got. I'm gonna just start tap and delete here. Give it a second. Come on. So impatient. BIOS vendor, BIOS version. Yeah, the BIOS is 3 years old. Let me find a notepad or something here. Yeah, there we go. America trends 9 U 519 UEFI 2.7. So I'm just making some notes in another screen over here. PI and then 1.6 R6G07. That should all be fine, I think. Those American Megatrains BIOS are probably some of the most stable ones. Man, I don't even know. Let's see what we can find. BIOS update. Report manufacturer model, download your program for your support page. Oof. Yeah, I don't even think Geekom, because I think in order to make sure everything worked, I'd have to get the Geekom. Yeah, and that's the one. See, and that's the 13. That's not the 11. And I don't know that Geekom is like, I don't know that it's worth it at this point. Yeah, like here's somebody selling effectively the same thing. Yeah, same thing. They're selling it for $244. Was $349. Yeah, it's about right. Yeah, you know what? I say we just run with it, see what happens. So I've already, let's see, we've got this. Actually, I want to change the boot to USB key. Cool. All right, so I've got this, or this. I guess this is the one I plan on using. This is just a little SanDisk. Yeah, there it is. Little USB drive. We're going to throw Proxmox like 8.4 on there, I think. And actually, I should have gone to my desktop. So I'm just going to plug this into my computer. I've already got the ISO downloaded. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to post a link there, unfortunately. Let's plug that in and not push the power button that's right there. Okay, so we've got this. We're going to flash from a file. Again, I've already downloaded this, which was already downloaded there. I got 2 copies of it. Go me. We're going to select our target, which is the SanDisk I just plugged in. We're going to select that. We're going to click Flash. Oops. And then we'll say yes. We'll give that a minute to do its thing. So, yeah. So we're going to give this a second. Hopefully this won't take too long. It's USB 3. And hopefully I don't do something stupid like bump that power button when I try to unplug it. So we'll give this a second. This is taking longer than I expected it to. There it goes. Oof, I hope it doesn't. There it goes. Wow, what in the world? Yeah, I should probably consider setting up a netboot of some variety. I think that might be cool to do, have that available. I've never actually done a netboot before. As far as like, even if there was one available to me, I had never done it, which is I think that would be actually pretty neat to set something like that up. And I think there's like a NetBoot self-hostable thing that you can set up, right? Because I think that would be pretty cool. NetBoot XYZ is good. Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll try that. Maybe we'll do that for next week's live stream. I know last week I said we might do something else for this week, but it's gone. I have no idea what I said. But NetBoot might be a lot of fun. That might be a cool thing to give a try. Oh, that first and last little bit on this, writing the beginning and the end. Yeah, Colin says he had it up for a while and never really used it, and that's kind of what I'm afraid of. I guess is it'll take a lot of time getting it set up and having it available, and I'll throw a bunch of different OSs on it or whatever, and then I'll only ever boot one thing from it. So easy to implement, just than just a single update on your router. Or is it like a DNS update or something? That's weird. I didn't know you had to get your router involved. It won't take much time at all. Pretty simple. Well, then maybe if I remember, maybe if somebody reminds me later in the week, like over in Discord or something, then I can maybe take a look at that. DHCP option, interesting. Let's do Windows install setup. It's kind of a pain. Yeah, gimme. All right, yay! I think we have success there. So I'm gonna plug this in over here. I don't think you guys need to see that. I think you can trust me enough to plug that in right there. We're gonna close this. USB key. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do a save and exit. Like, it's got all kinds of Pixie stuff in there for a NetBoot, which is actually pretty cool. Let's save that configuration and exit. Hopefully, no, of course it did that. I'm trying to boot directly into Windows there. So we'll unplug it and we'll plug it back in. And then we'll power it back on, and we're gonna. The disco option says, first time seeing you live. Thank you so much for your awesome videos. Well, thank you so much for watching them. I genuinely appreciate it. Can I go this way? I can. Let's do that. Hey, look at that. That's where we want to be. And then I have the same USB drive like yours, installed Proxmox on it. It got corrupted. I pulled it out. It got really hot. I will say it was really hot when I pulled it out of the computer that we just wrote it to. They do get very hot. I mean, if you think about it, are you surprised? Like, this, I believe, is 128 gigs. If I can find my center there. Oops, there it is. This is 128 gigs with a little teeny tiny not processor, but PCB and storage chip on there. Like, it shouldn't work. Like, it shouldn't work, but it's got so much storage on it. I think I've got some of these are like 256. But yeah, they absolutely get hot. No argument there. Let's come back over to there. There we go. Thomas says if you use the USB option, Ventoy is a good way to go. Also, yeah, I've got this weird thing about Ventoy for some reason, and only because it gets brought up and bashed on so much that I feel like if I even mention Ventoy, somebody's going to have some just derogatory comment about it. And like I've used it once or twice. In fact, let me show you something. You guys might not have seen this. So, I actually just found this again the other day. Let's come over to here. I really should maybe just do that. So this this gives you an idea of how old it is. If you see this USB connector here with that old school thing on it, but this was sent to me for review years ago. But basically, this is like Ventoy. This has got an SSD in it, I believe. It's an IODD device. So let's sidetrack for a minute here, right? But I think this has still got an SSD in it. I think this should slide apart or something. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, here we go. So it's got an SSD in it, so you can put ISOs on it, and effectively this was Ventoy before Ventoy, and then you could plug this in, and it would show you all of your available operating systems on this little teeny tiny screen, and then you could password protect it with a pin code, and you could move around in this little crappy menu here, and figure out which ISO you wanted to install with, and then it would mount internally, and then you could use it like you had built, one of these, but it was on this, and you could put an SSD in it. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one of those before, um, right? Um, but yeah, like I used it a few times, and honestly, I kind of hated the interface enough that it was just more convenient for me to just flash a USB when I needed it, because I don't think Ventoy was a thing, or I wasn't aware of Ventoy at the time. So let me put this back together so that I don't have screws laying all over and forget what goes where, because that is very classic me. I've got a box of screws that came out of things that I meant to put back together. I don't know where they go. So let's put this back in there. We'll slide this back into this nice little faux leather case here, and then again, it's got this that you can just kind of tuck in over here. I guess it's been a while. It kind of tucks in on the edge, and there you go. So let's come back over to here. Let's see. Personally, do it with. Oops. I really need to go wireless, I think, with my microphones. Like I said, I've got one, and I just haven't been happy with the thing. So anyway, sound quality. I uses Ventoy, but sets Linux distros in their kind of container, so it can do up to 40 gigs micro USB with a separate power plug. The enterprise version of it, yeah, like it was a cool idea. I just didn't like the implementation of the interface. It was just weird. So let's get Proxmox installed on this little Geekom device that I had issues with in the past. We're going to do a graphical install here, because that's how I like to roll when I have that as an option. I guess we can just leave it like this. Like, this part's not interesting anyway. This is it just booting up, so I don't know if you guys can see that very well. Sasha B says hello from Switzerland. Well, thank you so much for stopping by to say hi. I really appreciate that. View, does full screen matter? I mean, a little. It's whatever, I guess. I agree. PVE 8.5 is the latest, excluding version 8 or version 9. Yeah, so the one that we're using right now is what's available to download as an ISO. Once we've got this installed, make sure both my drives there. They are. We're going to put it on the 500 gig drive. That's fine. Once we get this installed and up and ready to go, we'll run all of the updates and get it to the most current version. Next, we've got our time zone. Country was fine for me. I'm next to Denver. I was actually just up there yesterday for a doctor's appointment for the kid. Everything else there is fine. We'll click next. Password. Man, I need to replace my home keys. My two little home keys, the nubs on them are starting to almost be non-existent. I use them a lot more than I thought I did. Oops. Not that it matters. Let's try that again. Reviews.com. There we go. Let's see. Sasha is traveling to China soon. That's cool. A beta test time? I don't know. Here's the thing. I actually want to use this. So I don't want to do a beta on this just yet. But as I mentioned earlier, I've got several other devices that I could absolutely do a beta test with. So maybe another time. Ryan McHale says, "Are you making a proper Proxmox video? Proper being in quotes." I mean, look, the whole thing we're doing today, the idea is that we're going to set this up as a community just so that I've got a better setup for my testing. Like all of the videos I make are done on a little mini PC, much like what we're using right now. This is just more powerful, has more storage, has more RAM, has more power, that sort of thing. So this is going to be pretty much just for me to do some testing with. I guess I don't know what you mean by proper. I've made at least a few different like full install videos for Proxmox, going from just a basic install to a more complex install with using ZFS and RAID and high availability. Like I've made a few different types of Proxmox videos over the past, and really the install process hasn't changed from when I started using it a year or two ago. So I guess I don't know what you mean by proper, the way you put that in quotes, because this is just us hanging out, chatting, and setting up a Proxmox server that I can have something that's better for doing my testing and my tutorials and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I was just kidding. Not sure a mini PC would be the place to even test new features from PvE. I don't see why not. Like I've got a couple of decent little systems over here that would be plenty powerful enough to do that with. Let's do let's call it proxtut .local. I guess this can sit on my main network. It's fine, because my plan is to put when we get to a point where we set up the that basically the template LXC that we're going to build later, that's going to go on a different subnet, on a different VLAN. So for right now, Proxmox can just sit on this. Like that may change. I may move it over there behind me. It doesn't matter. Like I will figure it out. But anyway, we're just going to let that fly for right now. All of this looks fine. Yeah, great. We'll just say install. So now it's going to clean everything up. It's going to install everything. So yeah, we'll give this a go. We'll just kind of hang out and make sure that that's doing its thing. Again, and here, if you guys like the video, like hanging out, like the live stream, whatever, do me a favor, hit the like button. Like I feel like a douche even saying that, but if you guys don't, then YouTube's like, oh yeah, people are there, but they're not interacting, and like it genuinely helps if you just click the like button. If you don't like the stream or you don't feel the urge, please don't. But if you do, it'd be cool if you did. Just checking in. It appears that Yumi supports Proxmox. Huh. Let's look. I'm not familiar with Yumi. Proxmox. I don't. Create multiple bootable USBs, and okay, so this is kind of an alternative to Ventoy. Then I gotcha. Huh. Well, that's cool. That's huh. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I might set up like netboot XYZ. We'll take a look at that real quick. Netboot XYZ. Oh, it is Ventoy based. I gotcha. Okay. So it enables you to boot into many types of operating systems using lightweight tooling to get you up and running as soon as possible. Okay, great. Docs. Let's look at docs. NetBoots lets you use PXE boot various operating systems utilities from a single tool over the network. This lets you use one media for many types of operating systems or tools. The iPXE project is used to provide user-friendly menus from the BIOS. And we saw that a minute ago. Where this device anyway, and several others obviously, have the option for a PXE or PXE boot option, and basically this throws a PXE server on your network that you can then boot from, which is pretty cool. Ismail says, hi from Puerto Rico. That's cool. Just doing some research for a mini PC around $150 and came to YouTube first and to catch your live stream. Well, that's cool. Thank you Thank you very much for stopping by to say hi and to chat for a second. Super appreciate that. That's great. I hope you find what you're looking for. There's some stuff out there um, for that price. You're probably going to be in the N100 range if you're looking for a mini PC that's new. But if you jump over to like eBay, you'll get a lot more for 150 bucks, I think. But you're in Puerto Rico, so I don't know what shipping is going to look like there. So I would check both. I would check around a little bit. Hopefully find something that works for you. Because there's some good stuff out there if you find it. Duh. Uh, let's look up small form factor PC. Yeah, like I mean, operating system genuinely doesn't matter if you're setting up a mini PC. I mean, like 16 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte drive for $134. That's pretty sweet. Free FedEx shipping. I think I'm not even logged in. So like that might be a solid deal there. Let's see what it says. It's got a 6th gen i3 for like home labbing and that sort of thing. This is just to show like there's some options out there. There's an i5 with up to 32 gigs of RAM and 2 terabytes of storage. OS again doesn't matter. That's sure, right? That's a bit outside what you're looking for there, but like if you went with let's bring that down. 8 gigs. I mean, those are some weird numbers. But you could probably find something pretty reasonable that wouldn't necessarily be like a super small PC, but would maybe be more powerful. So anyway, didn't YouTube change the way it looks at video popularity by looking at likes and comments more than views now? Part of it is that. Jorge, thank you so much for that donation. That was really nice. Hi, noobs. Cat's coming to check on me. He's very sad that I'm out here. What they're looking at a lot now is like how long people are staying engaged with your video. And it doesn't have to do with the percentage of like they watched 50% of your video. It has more to do with the how many minutes they watched your video. So I just ran into this recently. The video that I released the other day, I'm going to pull this up over here real quick. Up Studio. The video that I released the other day about Mazinoki. Look, I understand that it was a very niche video about image compression, a self-hosted image compression kind of thing. But it was also less than 7 minutes long. And if a video is less than 8 minutes long, you don't get to put mid-roll ads on it, right? So if it's less than 8 minutes, you get an ad at the beginning or an ad at the end, but nothing in the middle, which is whatever, right? But my theory is because they couldn't put mid-roll ads on it, they didn't promote it as much. And it's not just me saying that about this video. It seems like they're very much pushing longer form videos again. I think it's partially why they made shorts that can be like minutes long versus the minute or whatever they were before. Because the longer a video is, the more ads that they can put into it natively or whatever. So if a video is less than 8 minutes, they're less likely to promote it based on my experience. Like if we look at this sub 7 minute video, like 1,300 views, which is 3,500 views less than normal, right? Like 200 hours less watch time. 9 subscribers, which I super appreciate that, but that 7 minute video has earned me less than $2 in the last 3 days. So it's a matter of finding, it's a matter of finding kind of that sweet spot. It seems 10 to 15 minutes seems to be that for me, for my channel, but anything less than 8 just gets trounced, based on my experience. So unfortunately, if I want to, I'm gonna have to be cognizant of that and make sure that my videos are 10 minutes or more. And that sucks because not every video needs to be that long, but because it wasn't long enough, it got punished. And I know there was more to it than that, but I believe that video being as short as it was contributed to its lack of being promoted. So, it is what it is, as they say. So, oh, hey, it rebooted. That's cool. I'm going to unplug top down, right? I'm going to unplug this. This is super hot. Like this thing is super hot. Like I'm glad I can grab it by the corners there. I'm going to set that aside. We come back to my desktop. Here we can see prox.login. login. There's our IP address. We're on 0.150. So we're going to HTTPS 0.150 and then 8006. That's fine. We're going to do this. Going to get logged in. Hopefully. I think must have fat fingered that. Also, I can't click the OK button. That's been a thing for a while, and I don't know why. And yeah, so I got to refresh the screen. Root. And then from here, again, I can't click OK, so I got to refresh. It's dumb. I hate it. Amazon refurb Lenovo's are great. Yeah. Collins is like, how do they define engage? Watch time, primarily. It's primarily watch time. Let's see. I think it's important to cover all kinds of apps, but sometimes I won't see it as soon as it's released, even from channels that I could put my secondary. Yeah, like there's a lot of complaints about that kind of stuff going on with creators right now. Since like January, for certain niches, views are way down. And I don't want to get into the theoreticals on that, but it's definitely a thing. Sven says, do you hardcode the IPs of your LXCs? If so, how do you do it? I do, but not deliberately. You can go into the host file in your LXC and do it that way, but I'm a bigger fan of doing it at the network level. I like to go in and log in and just set static IPs for my stuff there. Like let it spin up, let it grab its IP, let it do its thing. Once I'm convinced that service, that LXC, that whatever is going to stay, then I can go in and change the setting at the network level of just saying reserve this IP for this MAC address or this service, whatever. So that's how I do it. Darkin says, but I've seen old videos where I want to see a specific app, so I reiterate, it's nice to have them. I agree. Like a lot of my content is evergreen content. And for a while, some of it doesn't kick off for a long time, but then some of it'll kick off 6 months later. Like I'll review an app real early on, and then there'll be like an official like public release. Like it comes out of beta, it goes full production or whatever that is, version 1, whatever, and they start promoting it really heavily. And then because I've got the earliest video on it, I'll see a huge uptick in views then. So it's really a crapshoot. Like somebody said, it's a game of whack-a-mole. Kevin's like, do you have any browser extensions that might break the OK button? I don't think so. I've got Streak. I've got return the dislike button. Go full page, which is screen capture. Bitwarden privacy badger, which I'm not even sure is turned on. It is, but it doesn't matter. Like this is all I've got in here, so I don't know what the deal is with that. So better to do it DHCP? I think so, and just set it reserved. Yeah. Here in Canada, refurbs at Amazon Newegg cost almost as much as a brand new PC. Got mine through a local PC shop that ordered it for me. Oof. Yeah, it's interesting to see how a lot of this stuff is just going up, and I don't believe it's supply chain issues anymore. I don't. I think it's a matter of corporate greed more than anything. People they've realized, people will pay more, so we're just going to keep charging incrementally more every so often, and people are just going to suck it up. But I think they fail to realize that there's going to come a point at which people can't buy stuff anymore. Housing's going up, food's going up. luxury items, are going up. Everything is going up, and wages aren't. And I think there's going to be a point at which people just can't afford to buy things anymore. 1005. I don't know what that is. 1005 greed. Oh, it's the Nvidia 005. 100%. Okay. Just missed the shift. Thanks. I was like 1,000. What? Thank you. Yeah. No. Yeah. I 100% believe it's that. Um, they saw when there were actually like supply chain issues that people would be willing to wait longer and pay more. And they're like, oh, well, why would we change that then? Like we can provide worse service and still get paid. And then we can also make sure that we provide worse service by laying off half of our workforce. And we can still get paid and charge more. It's absolutely awful and I hate it. Let's come over to updates because I'm about to go on a tirade here. Let's go to repositories. I want to disable the enterprise repository, and I feel like there was one that I want to add here. No, not that one. The no subscription repository I want to add. Yeah, I know. The rest of this is Ceph related, and I'm not interested in Ceph for this setup. I think we're good, so we'll just close that out. We'll reload. Right, we'll go to updates. We're going to refresh. Yeah, I know. I don't have a valid subscription for that. That's fine. Cool. Collins, thanks so much for hanging out. Appreciate you being here, hanging out, chatting, whatnot. Yeah. So have a fun day. Talk to you later. There's a community script that does all the usual setup stuff like disable or paid repos. I think I saw that. I've got the helper scripts open over here. The I think it's this one actually. This script will disable enterprise repo. Yeah. Let's just do this. This is the better way to do it, right? It'll disable. So it'll. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's for the backup server. Dang it. Where is post install? That is backup. Post. Backup. Where is it? Post. Mail gateway. Post install. Is this it? Provides options for managing repositories, disabling the enterprise repo, adding the correct PVE sources, enabling the no subscription repo, and adding the test repo, disabling the subscription nag, updating Proxmox VE, and rebooting the system. Let's do that one, right? Because I think that's the one you were talking about, Mob Farmer. That would be my guess anyway. That's what we should be doing. I agree. Let's go over to here. Let's run that. And this is like, hey, do you want to do this? Yep, that's the one. Cool. Do you want to correct that? Yep, I do. Do you want to disable? Yep, I do. Do you want to enable the no subscription? Yes, I do. Do you want to correct set package sources? Sure, why not? Do you want to add, or do you want to add that? Sure. Do you want to disable a subscription ad? Hell yes, I do. Cool. Yep. We're just going to do that. Do you want to disable high availability? Yeah, this is a single node. Do you want to disable Coro Sync for a Proxmox cluster? Yeah, this is a single node. Do you want to update it now? Hell yeah. Oh, man, good water. So now it's just going to run here. It's going to do some updates. Love that. Let's pop this open. Status. Nope, that's not helpful. Well, then, I guess we'll just hang out and wait. Let's see. Chris McGraw says, I'll pay like $300 plus for a mini PC, 7th gen and older, where I can have a 6600H APU with 24 gigs of DDR5 RAM. Is a no-brainer. For $300, yeah, that would be pretty good. Yeah. All right. So Thomas says, do that. And the power efficiency script and the nag one are the go-to ones. Yeah. So it's updating. I think it's definitely doing some stuff here, because this whole section down here just kind of dorked out. I don't know what happened there. Tasks, that was weird. Still nothing there. That's fine. It's running in the background. I guess we'll hang out and wait. Yeah, $389 plus shipping and whatnot was a no-brainer. That's a pretty good deal. I agree. Excuse me. So this is just running updates. Well, so I guess while we're waiting, because like this is just gonna sit here for a while doing its thing, and I guess I should, of course, as soon as I switched over, right? Do you want to reboot now? Yes, I do. Oops. Yes, I do. All right. So I started working on another video for the new channel for Home Lab Launchpad. If you haven't seen that yet, you should check it out. I've got a channel trailer, and I've got just one video out, basically what is self-hosting and why should you care. But it's the next video I started recording earlier this week. It talks about basically a few different approaches to getting started with hardware. And I got it recorded, and as I was editing, I was really unhappy with my presentation. It was very dry, it was very drab, it was very dull. And I was going to re-record it yesterday, but then, like I said, I had to go to Denver, and it made it so that I couldn't do that yesterday. So it's still in the works. I'm still going to re-record that video, but it's one of those things where I'm trying to be very careful with that channel, new channel. I don't want to screw it up. So I want to let you guys know. I want to be transparent. I've got some content that I've started on, but had to basically scrap what I recorded. It's not a very long video, like 10 minutes, but my presentation was just trash. So I'm going to re-record it soon, and hopefully have a better video for you guys on that channel in the next few days. It's going to be a huge priority, like Monday, Tuesday. So here we are, PVE post install. It looks like everything here is up and going. It all looks good here. Darkin says, did you continue to mess around with Nextcloud? No, I didn't. I was pretty burnt on Nextcloud after all of the nonsense that we had to deal with just to get it set up and configured. And then after several people confirmed my concern about having to basically have cron jobs running on it constantly, otherwise it'll crap the bed and just become non-responsive. There are so many things wrong with that I'm just not impressed. There is something that somebody reached out to me about recently that I do want to take a look at. But that might be a video for this week for this channel. But no, I think for now, I think I'm pretty much done with Nextcloud and all of its nonsense. So, let's see. There was one other thing that I wanted to do here. Proxmox and virtualization. It was the microcode. That's the backup server microcode. Let's do this one, right? The processor microcode is a layer of code that the software runs on the processor, provides patches or updates for its firmware. Microcode updates can fix hardware bugs, improve performance, and enhance security features of the processor. It's important to note that the availability of firmware updates. Okay. Yeah, after reboot, you can check what the microcode updates is. Cool. I know we want to do this one. I think this one's good as well. Let's click back into there. There we go. Let's run the microcode one. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. So genuine Intel. Select a microcode package to install. Well, I feel like the only one that makes sense is this one. 25.2. I don't know what's going on there. We're going to go with that middle one, I guess, unless anybody's got anything to say about that. Ethan says, awesome stream, keeping me busy. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I do. Sorry, I heard a noise over there. It was weird. When I get shopping for new hardware, it's eBay, but to buy it now at the lowest shipping selected. Yeah, I very much do buy it now, lowest. Yeah, very much. That is my approach as well. I guess we're going to do that one because it's the one that makes me the happiest just by looking at it. So we're going to do that. I guess while it's doing its thing, I feel like there was one about power or something. Power. That's mail gateway. This must have been it, right? Pterodactyl wings. We did the post install. We're not going to do that. Data center manager, I think that's cool. Templates, interesting. This one's interesting as well. We may talk about that later. File browser, host backup. That's cool. A host backup, that would be super handy, I think. We may talk about that later. Microcode's the one we're doing right now. Data, CPU scaling governor, maybe it was this one. The goal of this is conserving power and improving performance by scaling frequency down. The operating system can optimize the CPU usage and conserve the energy when possible. Generic scaling governors. I think that's also a pretty good one to check out there. So once this is done, okay, so it is rebooting. In order to apply the changes, a system reboot will be necessary. I assume it's rebooting at this point. Because that doesn't really tell me anything. That was 11:27, which is now-ish. I hate that this doesn't tell me anything. That's just not helping at all. I guess it's rebooting. I don't know. Maybe you guys have got a better idea of what's going on there, because I think it's just rebooting. But I think manual reboot is needed. Well, screw it. Let's just do that then. Reboot now. There we go. Easy enough. I guess not rebooting yet. Yeah, no. We just did the manual reboot. We'll see. We'll give it a second to come back up. We should see that here in a moment down here. And there's some flashing lights going on over there, so that's a good sign. Refresh. I still have my old 4th gen mini PC, which I installed Batacera to turn into a retro gaming machine for the kids. That's very cool. That's a great way to repurpose old hardware. I actually did Batacera on a Chromebook. It was an Intel Chromebook that I found a modified BIOS for, so I could install whatever I wanted on it. And taking putting Batacera on that and having basically you got the battery, you've got the screen, you've got everything in one spot was great. I absolutely loved having that. Cool. So I think the next thing that we want to do, oops, I keep clicking that, is the scaling governor thing. Let's do that real quick. Let's paste that in. Yeah, we're going to just do that. It's fine. That's great. You want to set up the cron tab? Sure, why not? Let's see. Let's take a look at the cron tab then. Cron tab -E. Oops. Oh, geez. Holy cow. We're going to do that. There we go. Power save. Cool. So on reboot, it'll wait for 60 seconds and then it'll do that. Outstanding. So that looks good. Happy with that. I think that's all we really need to do for the sake of the initial setup here. Oh, and we're on 8.4.5. We can see that up here. Let's minimize that. We don't need all of that in the way. So we're on the most current version there. Let's take a look. Updates are good. That's good. Glad to see that. Cool. Let's create. Actually, let's go back to here. I want to see this real quick. We didn't look at this. Somebody's running a chainsaw or something. Okay, so we've got 8 cores, we've got 32 gigs of RAM, and we've got 500 gigs of storage. That is the helper scripts. Yep, that is the Proxmox helper scripts. If you Google that, this page will come up, or something, right? Oops. Some version of this will come up, and then you can be brought here. And there's so much good stuff in here. I encourage you to dig through it before you just start running things. That can be dangerous, even from a community script like this. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, now that I think about it, before we get too far, is go into storage, and we want to add some storage. I'm going to do ZFS. I could do an LVM. I could do we're just going to do ZFS if I want to go that route. Oh, you know what? I lied. I have to go. somewhere else first, right? Because I don't have a ZFS pool created. Storage, backup, where is it? Where is it? I will find it. Storage, add. I thought it was here, but I had no pool found. Interesting. Is it here? Oh, it is over here. Go. Okay, so we're going to go here. We're going to say that. We're going to create a ZFS. We're going to call it storage. Here we go. It's going to be single, no disk left unused, huh? Well, that's interesting because there's another drive in there. It's not compatible with hardware RAID. We were talking about this, yes, recently in Discord. No disks unused. Well, I know that to not be true. That's interesting. Well, then, that's interesting. I guess then what we're going to do, we're going to have to just shut this down is what we're going to have to do here, right? We'll go to shell. We're going to just say shut down now. Luckily for us, I have this, and we're going to use this to make sure that we format that drive. Oh yeah, you and your reasonableness. How dare you? Fine, we'll do it the right way, I guess. Jeez. Look at you being reasonable. Yeah, I should have done that. I didn't, though, because I like to go the nuclear approach more often than not. Yeah, maybe there's some partitions and stuff on them. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so we're going to wait for this to boot up because you guys being all reasonable and stuff. Yeah, failed to import ZFS. There we go. Refresh. Oops, refresh. So we're going to do ls blk. Yeah, it's right there. And then I got to remember, man, it's not, man. Prox. I'm so bad with commands. Proxmox, format, drive, command, right? That's not helpful. Okay, fdisk. Right. All right, hold on. zpool create pool 2 drive ID, which I'm guessing is SBD in this case. So hold on, we're just. Yeah, so all right, so z pool create pool 2, and then what, SBD or SDB? Potentially active in the pool of SBD 1. Nope. Because it's potentially active over there. What the hell? Create ZFS. Nothing there. That's so strange. Because it's there, right? ls blk is there. I just want to format that drive. Verify. Nope. You guys are smarter than. Wait. Z pool list V. No pools available. So I got to format that drive first. But for me, oh, you know what? I'm stupid. Why do I always go about things? Yeah, thank you. Eddie and I had the same idea about the same time. So thank you, Eddie, for that. Because, I like to make things difficult whenever possible. Create a ZFS. Hey, look, there's our 1 terabyte drive. Let's try that again. Man, create storage. I am such a doofus some days. Hey, look, there's our storage. Man, thank you. So while that's doing its thing, I guess the other thing we can do now that that's up and running, we're going to do PVEAM update. Basically, this is just going to be like an apt update, but for Proxmox. It's done. ZFS is super fast. Yeah, no, it's great. We're going to do PVAMM available. And then what I like to do, because there's a lot of different things that are available for this, right? Like there's a lot of stuff in here that I could do. I'm a big fan of using the newest-ish version of Debian. In this case, this. Um, there are pre-built services available down here that I could do, but that's not what I'm here for. So what I want to do, I'm a big fan of using Debian for this. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to copy this. I'm actually going to clear my screen. I'm going to do pveam download local. Oh, I did that backwards. Local should come that before that. Download local. There we go. And now with this, now we've got that available. Why make it easy when it can be unnecessarily harder? Yeah, that is typically how I roll, is making things unnecessarily difficult. I get tunnel vision on something, and I forget that there are easier, faster, more effective ways to do things sometimes. So if I come over to here, container images right there, that's the one we're using. You can also go to templates, and you can find them here as well sometimes. And I could have downloaded it from here. I absolutely could have. But yeah, I'm definitely making sure you guys are on the ball. I thank you for giving me that excuse. But yeah, so I could have done it here. Sometimes I like to do the command line stuff just to make sure I'm being tested a little. So let's create a new LXC or a new CT, right? We're going to call this is node prox test, right? I always put these as 999 just so that it's like at the very bottom most of the time. Let's add another 9 just for the sake of it. We're going to call this template like so. It is going to be unprivileged. It is going to have nesting because we're going to throw Docker in this. And I don't want it to have privileges that could escalate outside of the container. But I also want kind of the sub-virtualization with nesting inside there with Docker. So that's my rationale anyway. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's how I'm doing it. And then no tags. Don't care about that right now. Template. We're going to grab that. That is the one that we just downloaded. Making sure I've got you guys on the right screen here. Normally create a Docker LXC from Proxmox helper script. Yeah, I like to be more hands-on with that. I don't know why. I genuinely don't. 8 gigs for this template is going to be fine. If I decide I need to add more storage or change it later, that's the cool thing about LXCs is that they don't use like the typical LMV format, the logical volume manager or whatever. So I can just on the fly add more storage to it or add more CPU or add more RAM or whatever the case is. So that's what I love about using LXCs for this kind of thing. 8 gigs is going to be fine. CPU, I'll give it 2 cores. I've got 32 gigs of RAM available, so I'm going to give it 2 gigs for both memory and for swap, which has always been fine for me. And then I need to change my VLAN tag, but I don't remember. I don't 100% remember. You're looking at me for a minute. Sorry. I got to log into my network to find which VLAN tag I need to use for this. And in order to do that, there's some security stuff that you guys don't need to see. Of course you've expired. Why wouldn't you? It wants me to log back in, which is awesome. Because how dare I log into this email address both here and there? I can't imagine that anybody would ever do that. Over to here, we're going to paste that in. And then we're going to come over to here. We're going to go to networks, home lab testing, which I don't care if you guys see this. So my VLAN ID is going to be 6, right? We can see this right here. And it's going to put us on this 192.168.9 .0. And you're right. That is what home lab notes are for. I'm just not good at that. So we're going to throw it on VLAN 6 for this. Firewall's fine. We're going to set this to DHCP. Again, if I decided to use this long term later on, I can adjust this, and I can make it static at the network level, not here. I don't want it to have an issue with that. We're not going to do anything with IPv6. All of this looks fine. DNS, I always switch this to Cloudflare and Google. So if one goes down, the other one will pick up. This is just for my LXC stuff, because sometimes things got to go out and do their thing. Once I'm happy with it, I can switch it back later. But this, again, this is just my base template for what I'm doing here. So we're going to confirm create after started, or start after created. I had a dyslexic moment there. I think all this looks good. So we're going to say finish. Oh, that's doing its thing. Do task okay. Yeah, the first one is for your domain name. Oh, well, it's fine. Sorry, a bit off topic, but has the switch to Unify from TP-Link been going better compared to last time? Here's the thing. When I switched from Omada, which is of course like the more SMB style TP-Link stuff. I just started fresh on the Unify stuff. I didn't try to move anything. Like my network, like my Wi-Fi names are pretty much the same for like my IoT stuff, so that when I made the switch, everything just automatically reconnected, and I didn't have to reconfigure all of my IoT devices. They just went to their own IoT network. My main network changed as far as the Wi-Fi is concerned, and I set up some different VLANs for like guest networks and IoT and my main, my home lab and my testing home lab. So I've got a few different VLANs. I feel like the last time I used Unify, it was not great, but it's been several years, and I've been a lot happier with Unify this go around than I was last go around. So I know that doesn't really answer your question. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Wife was talking louder. It's approximately the kid's lunchtime, and sometimes lately he's been a little iffy. So I was checking. Turns out we have company who stopped by unexpectedly, so we're good. But it also gave me a chance to refill my water. So yay! So if we switch back over to my desktop, we're done. We're good here, right? So I'm gonna close this. Then we're gonna come over to here. This all obviously looks good. Let's do a couple of things. Let's get logged in. Also, I'm not going to do SSH keys on this. Again, this is just, these are very temporary LXCs that we're going to have for this. So we're not doing SSH keys or any of that kind of extra level of security, because I spin it up, I test it, I make a video, and I scrap it. Usually about that fast. So I want to make sure that we've got this. Just make sure that everything is up to date. Everything is up to date. Great. I don't care. It's weird that it's not pulling that stuff, but again, it's fine for right now, I think. I think at this point, what I want to do is actually come over to the notes for the live stream that we're on over on YouTube. Hi, kitten. He's such a wiener. We're going to do this. And here we go. So I've got this bash script that we're going to run. Basically, what it's going to do is it's going to set a variable up here. It's going to make sure that it's going to make sure that we're running as root. Then we're going to start the system setup script. It's going to check for updates. Then it's going to install Docker and Docker Compose by going through the standard commands there. And then it's going to look for that name, make sure that it's the stable version. Then it's going to install everything, and then it's going to create a new user for us with that variable that we set up at the very top that I just had it create specifically for me, but you could adjust that. And then it should also then ask me for a password for that user, add that user to the sudo group as well as the Docker group, and then we should be good to go. I used Gemini for this morning because I wanted an easy way to go about this. So let's clear my screen. Let's do nano docker.sh. We're just going to paste that in there. We're going to clear my screen again, and then we're going to say chmod plus x for docker.sh. And there we go. And that just makes that file executable. So I can do a /docker like that. Again, it's going to do the updates. It's going to ask us to do updates. Once it realizes it should, I haven't actually tested this yet. Cool. That wasn't helpful. Huh. Well then, that was not good. Let's do this. Oops. Oh, curl isn't installed. Thank you, save. It should have apt install curl. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's one of those you always think is installed by default. But it's not, and you're right. So thank you for that. Okay, why can't you do anything? You can't resolve anything here for some reason. Cat etc hosts. I don't understand. Is it the DNS that got DNS domain? I bet that's what it is. Let's reboot this and try again. Yeah. We'll do cat etc resolve .conf. Yeah. I changed the DNS over here because I had that DNS name set up wrong. So you know what? Let's just take all of this out for right now. We'll just reboot it. Reboot now. I'll give this a second and try again. It's probably the DNS stuff that I screwed up there because it's always DNS. In fact, this shirt used to say that. This was a Jeff Geerling shirt, but the text washed off. So yeah, is a self-hosted snippets thing. This is Lenpaste. It hasn't been updated in a long time. I've been messing around with a few different options to find something better because the developer hasn't touched this in a really long time. So let's give this a second here. What are we doing? It's thinking maybe. What are we doing? Told it to reboot, right? Like we agree on that. There it is. Oh no, that's that at that level. There it is. All right, root apt update. Let's try this. Let's see if maybe it was my stupid DNS setting that I did. Or the other issue is that it's further up the chain on that testing network. So to move things along, we're gonna put this on. We're gonna put this on 5. 5 should be fine. Yeah, it's whatever for right now. 5 should be fine. Just a different network there. And we'll reboot again and see if that fixes it. Reboot now. I think it was a firewall issue. that I've got on that VLAN because I don't use it appropriately. So I've never actually really put it through its paces. So, um, you know, there's that. But yeah, I think that was the issue. I think it was that VLAN doesn't have the right permissions to go out and check the internet because I didn't think that through. But and I don't want to get into the weeds on that. So we'll if that doesn't work, we'll move it again. And if that doesn't work, I'll just go cry in a corner somewhere. Um, but because yeah, like I'm able to do like apt update, and this is fine. So that tells me that it's definitely a networking issue there. So yeah, so we'll give this a second, and hopefully we'll come back up here quickly and be good to go. There we go. Root. Let's do apt update. Why? I've had this happen in the past, and I don't understand. They've been ignored, or the old ones used. I don't have this issue on other things on that network. DNS, use host settings, right? Network. DHCP. I guess we'll take that out with no VLAN tag. I guess that's really strange. Reboot now. I don't know what's going on there. That's really strange and super frustrating. Super frustrating that it's doing this to me. I don't know why. Come on. Is the host on the switch port getting that? Is getting the tagged VLAN? I don't know. Maybe it's why I've turned off the thing. When it comes back up, I'll check the IP address. It should be enjoying Proxmox to living some XCP&G. I took a look at XCP&G and was immediately put off by it because it required me to create an account on their servers for some reason, and I didn't like that. It's probably not the big deal I was making it, but I didn't like it. IPA. Okay, 00140. Cool. Apt update. Still can't. No public key. Okay, so what is going on here? Search for that. App package manager on your system cannot verify the authentication of the packages. Okay, I guess we'll try this. That it's really weird that this is the issue, but sudo not found. Great. Okay, we've done that. Oops. Too many windows open here. Oops, grab this. This shouldn't. This I don't know why this would be a thing right now, but apt install curl. I don't. Not everything needs sudo, guys. Failed writing body. Then update. Okay, so apt remove Docker. Not installed, so not removed. But okay, here's what we're gonna. Okay, I think I see the problem now. I think because we didn't have curl installed. Let's try this again this way. What am I doing? Sometimes, man. Man, I really screwed things there, didn't I? Okay, I guess we're going to do this manually because that's my life now. Right? paste. Great. This was the whole point of doing this, but apparently because I didn't have curl installed, it borked the rest of it. So that's dumb. Install GPG. I thought I did. Oops. Install GPG. Yeah. Oops. All right. Let's see. Screw it. There we go. It's new script I hadn't tested. Restore from backup. Right. It's a new script I came up or got this morning. Thank you. Appreciate it. There you go.
Hi.
There she is.
That's appropriate.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, it took a bit.
No worries. But there's definitely two things that I need to add to that, which is install curl and install GPG. That would have, I think, probably saved me a lot of time and frustration there. So thank you guys for your suggestions there. I think part of the issue is I get in this loop. It's like, well, why doesn't it work? I'm on stream. I got to keep this going, and it's this downward spiral thing. So it's creating a new user for me. Oops. Okay, so let's exit. Let's log in. Okay, so now, yeah, exactly. Now I need to add both of those to that script, 100%. Cool. So now we're logged in as me, not as the root user. So that's good. I mean, if we wanted to take it a step farther, what we really should do is then also LXC enable SSH. Not because I want to do that, but because I need to remember the path of that. So if I do a nano and then paste that, I could change the port of SSH here. By default, it's on 22. I don't feel the need to change that. I could also change stuff for SSH keys. Bro. I'm not going to do SSH stuff. We talked about that a little bit already. So the other thing I want to do now that we're here is I want to set this permit root login to no. Right, so we'll do no. We're not going to use pub key authentication. Everything else here should be fine, I think. Password authentication. We're not going to change any of that. And then, oops, yes. Because, no, damn it. Interesting. Apt installs sudo. All right, exit. Interesting. Get a drink from Miss DB. Yeah, right. No, she. I went in and grabbed water a minute ago, and she asked me if I was still interested in tea, and I'm always interested in tea. Always interested in tea. All right, let's do nano. Right. All of this is fine. Permit root login. That should be no. Actually, you know what? I'm going to exit out of this. Save. No. Apt install sudo. Because if I want my other user to have root privileges, I got to do that. I agree. She's pretty awesome. So now that we've got this, we're going to do exit again. Oops. All right, fine. Whatever. Don't log me in. Just there we go. So we're going to do sudo nano that. And because earlier we added this user to the sudo group, we should be good to go there. The only thing that I want to change in here really is this. To permit root login is no. That's really all I want to do there. I think everything else here is fine because I don't want to change the SSH port. Again, this is all very, very much a we're just creating a template here is what I'm trying to say. There we go. And we save the file. We're able. Great. Yeah, that's fine. But you missed a step. Restart SSH, which is, I know that should be it. Might be cool. There we go. So now, in theory, well, that's no good. Whatever. It just shouldn't let me SSH remotely, I guess. But I've got my user here, right? And there we go. That's all set up and ready to go. I guess the next thing we could do here is install Portainer. I still use Portainer primarily. Install this. I still use Portainer primarily as my way to manage Docker containers. It itself is a Docker container, so it is what it is. But let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, console login and SSH are two separate things. You're absolutely right. It's not on the internet. It's pretty pointless. They can hit the internal box. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, I'm not getting Twitch stuff up here. It has betrayed me yet again, and that is so dumb. You have to restart the service. Yeah, but Mob Farmer brings up a valid point of local console access and SSH access are two completely different things. So we've still got our new user, which I should be using to log in for this kind of stuff. Docker PS, right? So we're on port 9443 right there. Oh, you know what? There was another one of these. That auto tags. Tag. Was it this one? Yeah. This script automatically adds IP address as tags to the LXC containers or VMs using the SystemD service. The service also updates if the tag or if the IP address changes. The Proxmox node must contain this. We have to install this first because I'm so used to my other setup having like the IP address of the service up here, but I need to install this first, right? Cool. There we go. And then I want to run this. Sudo works. I just verified it through some testing, and then we're gonna paste that. We're gonna run this. This will install tag. This will install IP tag on Proxtet. That's fine. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Cool. So it's run successfully. That should then here hopefully in a moment. It should throw a little icon up here for the tag, and then it should also show that tag or the IP address up here. And then there was also a little message that I overlooked. Oh, it was this, right? I can just run that and then paste that. No IP detected. Interesting. You have to run it. Yeah, like if I do sudo su, like I'm able to use sudo here, so we're good. That was apparently the wrong tag. Thought it was the one I wanted. It should have been that one, right? That's the one I ran. PVE shell script. That's where I did it. thought, why isn't it doing it? It should have done it already. It should be there. Oh, we got to restart this. Okay. I skipped another step because that's how I roll. Did you install the tool? I did, but I didn't then restart the IP tag thing. I knew there was something that I missed there. And then if I do that, no IP detected. It's detected 320 minutes. I guess let's go look at that file because that's weird. Right. This is on 0. 192.168.0. That should work. IP tag run. Yeah, I did that, but it didn't. If I do, right, like that's it right there, but it's saying on this LXC, which is the one we've got right here, it's not doing that, and it should. Allowed CIDRs, which is this IP address, right? If I do an IP address, an IP, damn it, IPA, which is 0.140 slash maybe the 16 is the problem on that. Well, right now we're adding this Proxmox helper script to auto tag our LXCs with the IP address so that they show up here and up here. But I think the problem might be that 16 maybe needs to be 24. In fact, maybe I can check that. Let me do this. I do HL because I've got it set up here. That's fine. And then if I come into here and I do a nano, right? Well, that is nonsense because it's obviously running there. Maybe it's, did I, right? That's, see, nano, right? Opt IP tag directory doesn't exist. Then what script did I use for that? Because it's auto tagging and I don't remember what script I ran. GitHub community scripts. HAVOS, not it. Man. Reboot. Yeah, maybe. Because I feel like that's last 2 octets. That's fine. 300. But this isn't there, right? Interesting. Because I feel like this should have done it, right? Like, execute within the Proxmox shell we did. This service must be restarted after the change. So let's do this again, right? Let's exit. We're not going to save anything. We're going to paste. Okay, that's installed. We're going to then copy that. And we're going to paste that. Maybe I just did things in the wrong order. That's entirely possible. You can do that. GitHub, we're going to copy this. We're going to come over to here. We're going to do that. We're going to paste that in. It's already installed. Do you want to update it? Yes, I do. Replace it with defaults. Yes, I do. Okay. Now that we've done that, we've done all of the things, right? All of that should be there. And then I should be able to run it manually with that command. But it still says no IP. So yeah, I guess we're just going to reboot. We've done all the things should be on a t-shirt. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all. So we're just going to reboot. That should also be a shirt, I think. we're going to give it a try. We're going to see what happens. So, again, I'm really glad you guys are here to hang out and watch me slowly spiral into madness here. Once it comes back up, so we can come over here and we can see. I'll speed that along. It's nice to have this still up here, I suppose. Let's close out some of this other stuff. Everything there's going along. That's good. We're back up. Oh, she put lots of lemon in it. So good. All right. Oops, that's the wrong one. Gonna refresh. At least it's not a printer you're troubleshooting. Dude, my printer is up on the top of a shelf. Yeah, I've got it. In fact, I've got it turned so it can't even look at me. I used to do like printer testing years and years and years ago, and even now, like I won't even let it look at me. So frustrating. Let's start that. I really should have that set as. Actually, I shouldn't. No IP detected. That's really weird. Because, like, it absolutely has an IP network, right? Of 0.140. It's got an IP address. Maybe it's not. Maybe something changed in the new 8.4 that makes it not work. Kaputnik, what mini PC are you using? That's a good question. Let's actually address that real quick because that is a good question. It is a Geekom. Hold on. There we go. It is a Geekom Mini IT11, specifically the GM11 i7T. This has got the Intel Core i7 11390H, and it's got 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM in it. That's what we're using. It's this guy right here. It's got a 1 gig LAN port on it. Unfortunately, I thought it was a 2 gig, and I was wrong. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. See if I can do this without making a ton of noise. Number. Could it be related to being a number? And all of the others are alphanumeric? Yeah, 1 gig is quite old now. Man, hold on. Could it be related to being a number? What being a number? This is just that 999 is just the ID. Yeah, no, that's just like anytime you create a new container, like that's just the CTID right here. So that shouldn't affect it. Because like it recognizes that. It recognizes the LXC processing. Okay, let's do this, right? Let's do this. Let's shut down now. Oops. Shut down. Okay, we'll do stop, overwrite. That's fine. That's my only guess. I forgot the far tag. Yeah, like you can see over here, I've got tagging working, and up here, like you can see the IP address of that was part of that tagging. But I guess something has changed. Let's do IP tool. That's not helpful. It really should be this one, and it was updated like a month ago. So one would think that would work. But here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to do this. We're going to click clone. We're going to do tag test. We're going to let it stay on CTID 100. All of this should be fine. We'll click clone. Yeah, community scripts. I don't know why you've got a problem with it. They've been a thing for a long time. I've used them without issue. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. But at my PVEs, the IP tag is community script. What? That doesn't make any sense. We're going to start that. We'll give this a second to boot up. We'll log in. Our IP is 0.70. Okay. So, I mean, if I create a new LXC, the tag for IP tag is community script. Okay. And it's saying no IP. I wonder if it's because they're unprivileged. I wouldn't think that would be the issue. Option. No, these are unprivileged as well. Nesting is turned on. I don't know why IP tagging isn't working. So it's definitely not. But here's the other thing, right? It's still showing me the /16, despite we changed that. I thought we changed that. It shouldn't matter, but then let's also restart IP tag, and then let's run IP tag. No IP change, no IP detected, and it switched it to /24. Last 2 octets. Hey, dude, go be good. Go be good with the door closed. Hey, close the door, please. Thank you. Appreciate it. So it's recognizing the LXCs. Shouldn't matter. It should matter. See, yeah, like. Yeah, I don't understand what the issue is going on there. Loop interval optimized for low CPU. That's fine. Max parallel LXC batch sizes. Is there anything else in here? Let's set debug to true, I guess. That's the last thing. LXC force commands. Sure. And now it works. What the hell, man? Oh, it's just showing the last 2 octets. That's what that command means. Interesting. Let's fix that. Let's do full, because I want to see the full IP address, because that's how I roll. And then we're gonna restart IP tag, and then we're gonna run it again manually. And there it is. Okay, well, there we go. I turned on debug mode. That's like all I did was I turned on debug mode, and apparently that was enough to change it, I guess. That was it, right? Like I changed debug mode to true. I changed tag format to full, and I changed the CIDR list to 20/24. And now it works. So, yay! I don't know what happened there. Let's do this again. Let's click start. We're just going to spin this up to see if it does it here as well. We'll just let this. It's set to run like every 2 hours though, right? Because we don't want that. That's 60. Okay, so we're going to do. Let's change this to 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Right, this is way overkill as far as that's concerned. Hi, kitten. But, it doesn't matter. I can do that later. And then we'll just restart IP tag. Um, or just hides. Yeah, right. Like I don't understand. And there it is, just that quick. There's that 140 that we were looking for a second ago. And there it is. So we're good. You also chance forced command. Yeah, I don't know, man. I genuinely don't know. But there we go. Like it's doing the things I want it to do now. So that's good. I'm just a little frustrated that it had to go that far, for whatever reason. So that's we're gonna shut that down. We're gonna get rid of this. That LXC, we don't need it. We'll remove it. Type that in, and there we go. So yeah, that was interesting. But again, I'm glad we got it. I'm glad it's sorted. So that's good. Super happy with that. Um, Besides the issue with the VLAN tagging, is there anything else you guys can think of that the printer heard your cry for help and allowed it? Probably. Is there anything else you guys can think of in here that I should be doing? Like we went through several helper scripts. There was one other thing that I thought was interesting that we can take a quick look at. That doesn't the VE. So there's two of these, right? Let me zoom in a little. So there's the Proxmox VE LXC updater, and then there's a Proxmox VE Cron LXC updater. I talked a bit about both of these in Discord the other day, and JD brought up something interesting, an interesting thought about using the cron. Is that if you run this one, and basically you run this command, and it goes through all of your LXCs, and it updates the LXC, basically the base operating system of the LXC. And it says that to use this, run the command below only in the shell, which is fine, and it'll handle all of these different things. The cron version of this, this one. So this one, when you run this, basically it adds this script to your cron tab. The problem with it is that if somebody does something malicious and hacks this and screws up this cron.sh file, that's a problem, and then it could then maliciously attack your LXCs without you realizing it, because you've got it running on a cron basically at midnight every day. Every Sunday at midnight. So I probably wouldn't run this version of it. But update, if you wanted to quickly and expeditiously update all of your LXCs, maybe you've got a bunch of them, like I've got shown over here. You could then just grab this command. I would encourage you to look through it. Maybe have somebody else. So Mob Farm, you're correct, except that running this other script does a curl and downloads this file from GitHub every Sunday at midnight. So if somebody were to get into the community scripts account and maliciously update this cron.sh at GitHub, and then your system every Sunday at midnight downloads and downloads and runs this file on that cron. If it's corrupted at GitHub at that level on their accounts, that's where things could go wrong. Or if maybe the developer's like, F you guys, watch me, and did something here. I'm not saying he would, but if their system got compromised, this file could get compromised and then spread like a virus. So that's what I was trying to get at there, is that the cron could be affected much higher up at the GitHub level, which is why I probably wouldn't do it that way. And I think that's what JD was trying to say when I brought those two files up a while back. So we changed debug to true, and So we changed a couple of things. You probably want to go back and watch that. But if you wanted to do that, I would take a look at this file, right? And dig through it, make sure that you're comfortable with running it, and then like once a week, run it yourself. Right, there you go, Mob Farm. That's why I wouldn't run this as a cron job. I wouldn't have it manually download the file each week. I might download this file and store it somewhere and then run that as a cron job. But to have it download that file each week and then run it, I've got a bit of an issue with that from a security perspective. But you, again, if you look through this file and you're good with it, you could run it manually, or you could run it this way, and just come into here and just run that command. And it's like, hey, this is going to update your LXC containers. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. And then it's like skip or select the containers you want to skip. I don't want to skip anything, so I'm just going to say okay. So it's going to get some information, and then we're good to go because we already did the updates. But that was just kind of one of those things that they got brought up in Discord the other day, and yeah, it's just like at this time we're gonna bin bash all of this. We're gonna curl this file, and then we're gonna run it, and then that's not a great approach to this, in my opinion. Also, this says it hasn't, or that it was added here, but it doesn't say when it was updated. I don't know the last time this file was updated. So just be careful when you're running stuff like this. It seems like a super convenient thing to do, but if for no fault of the developer, if their system gets compromised, because I could see somebody targeting that developer because of this script that could then do some really nasty stuff by modifying it. So just be careful when you're running stuff like this. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. There's a manual way you can do this, which isn't terrible, as long as you at least dig through the code. Maybe if you're not familiar with the code, you could have you could take this and be like Chat GPT, right? What does this code do, right? And then we'll scroll down. This is a bash script. It's a Proxmox VE helper tool for updating LXC containers on Proxmox host. It was written by T-Tech. Here's a breakdown of what it does. And it'll tell you everything. And I love this. I love using AI for this kind of thing. Are there any inherent issues with running this script? While the script is well crafted and widely used in the Proxmox community, there are some caveats and potential issues to be aware of when running it, especially in a production or critical environment. Container startup or shutdown. Stopped containers are auto-started and shut down after the update. So that could be an issue. Assume internet access in containers. If a container lacks internet, the apt commands will fail silently or hang unless timeouts are set, which they aren't. The script doesn't log out or log output anywhere by default. If something breaks or a container fails to update, there's no record unless you're watching it live in the terminal. It always performs real upgrades, dist upgrades, which may pull newer packages or remove old ones without confirmation. Limited OS support and detection. That word took me longer. Assumes a reboot needed mechanism is present. Hard-coded paths are limited for safety checks. So those are just things to be aware of. If you're going to run something like this, you could do something like, so down here at the bottom, would you like a safer or headless version, cron friendly with logging added? Yeah, let's do that. Cool. So it runs non-interactively, skips stopped containers by default, which is great. Logs output to a time-stamped file, detects errors, and exits cleanly. Still checks which containers need a reboot. So here's the updated code. And then it's like how to use, save this script, make it executable, run it manually, or add it to the cron job weekly at 3 a.m. like it shows here. You would run that in your cron tab or cron tab-e file. Optional enhancements: add an environment variable or flag to enable auto start of stopped containers. Add email notifications when reboot is required or update fails. Add a dry run mode. And you can add that with this. Look, I'm not saying that AI is the be all end all, but this is super helpful for this kind of thing. If I had thought to go this far with the script that we tried to use earlier that failed, it could have been like, hey, make sure you've got these other things enabled. But I didn't because I was kind of in a hurry. I got kind of a slow start to my day this morning. So be careful when you're running scripts online. While they look safe and they're from reputable sources and that sort of thing, there are often things that you could do, because this was added more than about a year ago, more than a year ago. It probably hasn't been touched since. So you could then again use this as a starting point and have AI look for vulnerabilities here and fix them and give you ideas on how you can be safer when you're doing these kinds of things. And if you don't trust ChatGPT, use Claude, use Gemini, use whatever your preference is. This was just quick to log into. So that's kind of my thought on that. I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention that these scripts are great, but mess around with them a little bit. Look for possible vulnerabilities and see what you can do to make them less vulnerable. So I honestly think that's kind of everything that we need to deal with here. We've got our template set up over here. I can shut that down. Shut down. How to reduce SSD wear. I think, can you use trim for that? Trim? I don't know. Let's see. Proxmox reduce SSD wear. So it looks like there are some posts out there about that. Path is probably missing. I don't know what you mean, Mob Farmer. Path is probably missing where, in regards to what? There are definitely things out there that you could do. Yeah, in fact, that was one of the things that was mentioned here. Was RAM to disk, I think. Oops! Oh darn it! F RAM. And I thought I saw that somewhere over here. Oh, log to RAM is what I saw, not RAM to disk. Oh, in that user for shutdown. Oh, it very well could be. Thank you. But yeah, so there are definitely things that you can do. Log to RAM, yeah. So you could probably do that if you wanted to. This is saying, of course, this was 3 years ago almost. Disabling sync writes decreases SSD wear. Disabling it might cause data loss. In worst case, you lose your entire pool. So there's always going to be trade-offs. If you don't want to do that, I wonder. Amazon 2.5 GB, inch HE. Like you could go this route if you've got a 10 terabyte. Wow. That's for a NAS. I mean, it's not. Wow. Okay. So for a couple $100, you could get a 10 terabyte, 2.5-inch hard drive, and not worry as much about it, I suppose. So there are 2.5-inch hard drive options that really aren't a bad deal, man. That's a 3.5-inch drive, but for a 2.5-inch drive, 4 terabytes, $140. If you wanted to keep your small form factor system, as long as your your mini PC supports a 2.5-inch drive, that might be a way to go. Outside of that, you might have to look at log to RAM or something like that to help. But then there might be data integrity issues, especially if you're not using ECC RAM. It's definitely a crapshoot, and everybody's gonna have a different opinion on how to handle that. So yeah, I don't know. I actually don't use SSDs for most things. Like my NASA's are all spinning hard drives. My HL15 has two 10 terabyte drives in it that are spinning. Use enterprise SATA SSD. Fish Frog says used enterprise SATA SSDs are also an option. Let's see, eBay. Enterprise SSD. Whew. That's 15 terabytes for $1,600. And like these are probably gonna have some warranties on them. This is 3.84 terabytes in good working condition. The listing for there's no label on the front of the caddy. This label will fit any. This item was used working. We provide a 60-day warranty. When applicable, software password issues, compatibility purposes are okay. Have same lifespan as mechanical drives. Yeah, until you start writing a lot to them. I actually had for a while. I had two. Well, and there were two of these Silicon Power. There we go. I had two of these set up in a ZFS pool, a 1 terabyte ZFS pool for Plex, and it did not handle it well. Like it constantly overwrote. Like it was pushing too much data to them. They crash out on me frequently, and so I switched everything back to spinning Rust, and it's been fine since then. But yeah, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't want to use an SSD in that capacity. Yeah, here's Dell Samsung you can't see that. 256 gig for $50. Excellent Refurbished. And they've got a great reputation there. Bargain basement SSD, no argument, but that's what I had on hand at the time, so that's what I used, and it wasn't a good experience. Like most of the mini PCs that I've got, they come with like crucial drives very often. I've actually got a. This is where does it say? It doesn't say. Oh, this is a 1 terabyte crucial SSD, which would be great. And this is a Micron 128 gig SATA, probably SSD. It's really heavy. It feels like a hard drive, but I'm pretty sure it's an SSD. So yeah, no, definitely Silicon Power is not going to be great for that much data, but it's what I had, and it didn't work out well for me. So I switched back to spinning Rust. And like, here's the thing, guys, right? Like if we go to, that's on spinning Rust, right? Like that wasn't slow, right? These are random pages that I'm picking that haven't been cached, and they load lightning fast. And this is going out to the internet and circling back, right? So, like this again, this is on Rust. I say Rust, spinning hard drives. Like HomeLab, Launchpad. Again, like these load lightning fast. My Plex loads just as fast because it's on a 10 gig network, but I don't have an issue with using hard drives when my stuff loads this fast. It doesn't a half a millisecond at that point. Why spend the extra money on it if you can get sites that load this fast, even when they're going to a VPS and back, and going through security and back, and I don't see the need to go with an SSD in this case, because like I got these hard drives from Go Hard Drive over on eBay. I know that they've had kind of a crapshoot a couple of times recently. In fact, I think it was um, um, somebody. Sorry, I'm having a brain dead moment here. Somebody recently bought several drives from Go Hard Drive that came back, or that came to them basically dead. And I don't know what happened from that point, but every time I've had an issue, or every time I've ordered from Go Hard Drive, I've never had an issue. They come with like 5-year warranties, and I've ordered several drives from them over the years and never had an issue. I feel very fortunate. I know not everybody's had that luck, but when my sites load this fast, like I just right, like that's not a slow load. Like I'm picking stuff at random here to click on. This isn't pre-cached, right? Like this is how fast my stuff loads. So yeah, I don't see the need to go with SSDs at the moment. I just don't see it. So that's my little diatribe, I suppose. And everybody's got different requirements, right? Not everybody has the ability to have NASA's and to have an HL15, and I get that. But even then, I would probably choose, a 2.5-inch hard drive for something like that, if that's what I had the option to choose. So there you go. I have NetBoot on Proxmox to install Linux and Windows 11. Yeah, I really should one of these days set up NetBoot. Maybe that'll be the video this week. Maybe that's what I'll do a video on this week, is NetBoot, just to see how it goes, because I've never done it, and it sounds fun. Excuse me. So yeah, maybe that's what the video this week will be about, is NetBoot, because I think that would be a cool, practical thing, to not have to use Ventoy or USB drives, or different USB drive each time, or spin up a USB drive each time, whatever. Might be a cool way to do that. So yeah. Well, then I think we've kind of accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish here. We got Proxmox up and running. We ran a bunch of the Proxmox helper scripts. We did, like this one. Oh, I guess we didn't look at this, but like Proxmox VE LXE file system trim. This maintains SSD performance by managing unused blocks. Then provision storage systems also require managed to prevent unnecessary storage use. VMs automate FS trim, while XE containers need manual or automated FS. So that's an option as well, but will only work with an ext4 file system. So it probably won't work on ZFS. So there you go. But anywho, I think we're kind of at a spot where it might be time for me to go excuse myself and get some other stuff done. You guys have been awesome today, helping me with everything, keeping me on track, pointing out my stupidity, not installing curl and not doing the very basics in a couple of spots. So thank you for that. Thank you for hanging out and whatnot. Thank you to Sven, I believe it was, who gifted a subscription, and Jorge, who donated. Thank you both specifically for that. I really appreciate you doing that. But yeah, I think at this point I'm going to go find something to watch, put my feet up, and just kind of hang out for a bit while I finish my tea, and then maybe figure out some content to work on later this week. But maybe not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how my day goes. I still got to run to the store. Anyway, that doesn't concern you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I really do. Sven, thank you for that again. Really appreciate your support. But yeah, again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, thank you guys so much. Sorry if I said Sven earlier, I meant Jan. It was Jan earlier and Sven this time. I apologize. I'm really bad with names. Even people I meet in person, I'm so bad at names. So thank you again for everyone hanging out, playing along, doing this stuff. You guys are rock stars, and I super appreciate you. So I'm going to wrap it up. Have a great weekend, and again, I will talk to you again later this week.